Welcome back. It's early March here in Michigan and we got our trees tapped about a week and a half ago. We were expecting a few days of warm weather and we got it, and then it turned cold again. The sap from a maple tree that is used for making maple syrup only flows for about 4 to 6 weeks out of the year. The sap only flows when it's freezing at night and warmer than freezing during the day. It needs that freeze-thaw cycle to really get moving. We got about 2 or 3 days of good sap flow and then it turned cold again. As a result, we've only harvested about 12 gallons of sap. That's not very much, which is only enough to make less than a quart of syrup. I don't like to boil sap when I don't have very much to boil, but I also don't want to waste it. The sap will go bad after it's been harvested from the tree if it sits too long. So I'm going to fire up the new evaporator today. This is the second year of me making maple syrup from the trees on our small suburban lot. My goal last year was just to have a fun project to do with the kids and to learn if I could really do it. I used 2 turkey deep fryers to boil my sap last year. The syrup we got last year tasted amazing, but it was also the most expensive syrup we've ever tasted because of the cost of the propane. My goal this year was to build a wood-fired evaporator to bring down the costs of making the syrup. I can harvest firewood for free from my sister and brother-in-law's property, making it a far more cost-effective fuel. I spent a day a couple weeks ago working with my dad and one of his friends to build this evaporator that's behind me. It consists of a 55-gallon steel drum, a barrel stove kit, a few pieces of stovepipe, and some pieces of steel welded together to make the frame for the pans. I built a test fire a few days ago with just water in the pans. I still need to add a few things to it to really get it the way I want it, but it'll work for today. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up and we'll get things started. Now, I've seen evaporators similar to this on other YouTube videos. However, I made this one a little different than anything I've ever seen. I purchased a barrel stove kit for the legs and the door. I'm using the same steam tray pans that I used last year, and I have some stovepipe for my chimney. The thing that's different about this is the frame that you see here. I wanted to build an evaporator that would allow me to upgrade from these steam tray pans to a continuous flow pan or just a flat pan down the road. And that's what this frame is all about. So if we take these steam tray pans off, you'll see what I mean. Now you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Down the road, if I want to upgrade to a flat pan or a continuous flow pan, all I have to do is take this piece out and there you have it. I've got a nice angle iron frame to sit a flat pan or a continuous flow pan inside. And if I ever need to change the barrel, I just have to take this off, buy a new barrel and make the same cuts, and then put this back on. I do intend to bolt this down to the barrel if I need to, but for now it seems to be working just fine. So now we'll get a fire started, put some sap in the pans, and get boiling. As you can see here, I don't have any fabric lining the inside of the barrel. I also don't have a grate for the wood to rest on. Now, adding both of these things should help to make the evaporator burn more efficiently. Plus, adding fabric will help to make the barrel last longer. I found that the rear pan was hotter, so that's going to be my primary boiling pan. I'll add the raw sap to the front pan and let it come up to boil there, then scoop it into the rear pan. That way I never lose the boil on my rear pan. When I run out of raw sap, I'll move down to just using the rear pan for syrup and add water to the front pan so that it doesn't scorch. Because of the cold weather, I only had about 12.5 gallons of sap to boil in this batch. It took me over 7 hours to reduce it to a gallon of near syrup that I then brought inside to finish. Although there is definitely room for improvement, I was very happy with the first run. Well, it's been a couple of days since I boiled the sap, and we ran out of time that night and I haven't had a chance to get back to it. But we're back in the kitchen tonight to finish it off. We brought the sap into the house to finish the syrup inside. We have a lot more control over the temperature of the oven than we do of the evaporator outside. Syrup boils at 7 degrees above the temperature of boiling water. And right where we're at our elevation, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we are waiting for our temperature of our syrup to get up to 219 degrees, and we're pretty close. Looks like we're at 214 right now, 212. As the water boils away, you can see the bubbles become finer and finer and finer. So it's getting pretty close. When it hits 219 or 218 degrees, I'm going to pull some of the syrup off and put it into a cup to test with a hydrometer. The hydrometer will give you a real accurate reading of the sugar content, and that'll tell us if it's actually maple syrup. Well, I think we're there. In fact, our timer just went off, so we're going to go ahead and filter our syrup.
Actually, what he's going to do now, he's going to pour it in this white filter. Has to go through 3 or 4 filters.
Yeah, there's 3 pre-filters here and then a final filter.
Is that hot? Yeah, is that going to be delicious? See in there? Whoa, look at there. Yummy.
No, we're not going to drink it just yet. We put it on our pancakes. So the main filter you can rinse out and reuse many times. The pre-filters you can reuse, but they're more of a disposable item than the main filter.
So where do you get all your supplies?
These I got from a place near Lansing called Sugar Bush. I was supposed to dampen the filter before I used it. I forgot. There's still some in there.
If you squeeze it, it'll go through too fast.
Yeah, I'll just let gravity do its thing. Normally people will have a setup where they can just hang this bag and pour the syrup in it and just let it gravity filter, but that's maybe a future purchase. Man, this takes a long time. Yeah, I don't want to do that. You actually are not supposed to squeeze the bottom, the cloth filter, the bigger filter. You're not supposed to squeeze it because it causes the fibers to become more dense and the filter become less effective.
So once you've used these 3 inner filters, you throw them away?
No, you can rinse them out. Like I didn't run very much syrup through these, so it depends on how dirty they are. Like this inner one, maybe I'll throw it away, but the other 2 I'll probably just rinse out. So then after you get it filtered, you have to bring it back up to 180 or 190. You don't want to bring it to a boil, but you have to bring it up high enough for bottling. So it's at 180, I'm going to go a little higher. You don't want it to bring it to a boil because when it boils, it creates what's called sugar sand, which is that sediment. And when you bottle it, you don't want that sediment. No. So this one, I'm going to have to just use as a temporary. I'll mix it with the next batch. So now we take these and we cap them.
Does that seal when you cap it?
That's one of the reasons you bottle when they're hot. And you let them cool like that. And then it helps to seal them.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I'll store this in the refrigerator. I'll cap it and store it in the refrigerator, and I'll add it to the next batch so that I can get a full bottle out of it.
Cool.
Well, it's later in the evening and the kids are in bed. Time to look at what we have for our first syrup run this year. We've got 2 12-ounce bottles and a little bit extra in this 8-ounce bottle. So I would say we probably have about 26, 28 ounces of syrup for our first run. Beautiful amber color, and the kids and I all sampled a little bit out of this one. It tastes amazing. My labels are new this year. Bought those at a local supply company for maple syrup producers. I also bought a little label for the back, just so that people know that, hey, I'm just some guy producing maple syrup in my backyard. Just a local guy. So, really happy with how the syrup turned out. Wish I would have gotten a little bit more from our first run, but I really can't complain too much. Turned out great, and it tastes great. I sure can't wait for the weather to warm up to get some more sap this year. We've had a bit of a cold snap lately, and so I haven't gotten any sap in the past week or so. I did put the bags back on the trees today because we're supposed to get some warm weather tomorrow in the next few days, so hopefully we'll get some more sap pretty soon here, and we'll do another boil maybe later this weekend or sometime the following week. So that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching along, and if you feel like you want to see more of this sort of stuff, please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell right next to it to get notified whenever I put out a new video. Let me know in the comments field if you have any suggestions for future videos. We're going to do a few more videos on maple syrup this year, and then we'll move on to some other things. We've got some vacations planned, and we will take you along for those. If you're a maple syrup producer, please let me know in the comments what I did right, what I did wrong. Love to hear from you. Thanks, and have a blessed day. Bye. Maple sap for making maple syrup only flows about for... The sap from a maple tree that is used for making... The sap from a maple...